Yo, what is up, everyone? Thank you so much for watching this video. Now, as stated last week, and for those of you who have not seen my last week's video, I will sit there and post up a annotation of some sort. But I will be talking about the second character I created for my Team VEXS in the RWBY series, and I will be talking about Esperanza Storm. Now, I will be talking about giving you all a background check, talking about her visual design, her weapons, and how she will be relevant for, once again, a season or two in this RWBY series. Alright, without further ado, let's begin. So, Esperanza Storm is a girl who came from a different kingdom and, like many other students, schools, and governments, heard of the incident occurring at Beacon Academy. Once all the schools have announced the extended vacation, Esperanza heads into the direction of the grim invasion, because it's close to where she lived, after all. Now, for visual designs, Esperanza has deep purple hair with white hair splitting in the center. It's very curly as she wears it casually. She is a faunus of dragon descent who often has her tail wrapped around her waist like a belt. Now, as I mentioned earlier, her hair is worn down casually because most of the time, often in fights, they are placed in horn-like bangs held together by her bracelets that resonate with her semblance and glow violet. There's a reason for this, but I will explain that in a much later date, maybe. She has magenta eyes and also a strapless sports bra, most likely to cover white, with a vest of some sort that exposes the front and covers some of the back with dress sleeves. Now, I'm going to have to pause here just because the best way I can sit there and explain it, it's not necessarily a vest, it's literally a dress shirt, just cut. So, Vega in Street Fighter V, that shirt is pretty much the idea I'm going for. If we can just eliminate the torso and just have the sleeves and have them being connected from the shoulder blades in the back, that's pretty much the way I'm sitting there and going for it. I think it's very nice, and it looked, I try to mimic some type of traditional way, but I'm not that good at this, but I thought it was very creative. Anyway, all of this complemented with a magenta or violet tattered cloak with sleeves. Casually, once again, she wears it normally, but when fighting, she ties the sleeves around her waist and wears the cloak sideways, covering her left leg. She also wears black pants that only cover her left leg, and the right being completely exposed, more or less. It appears that she has shorts on with this battle attire. Also, so I guess the best way I can sit there and explain this is that J-Lo. It's a very good, it's pretty spot on with the waist, if you ask me. Now, she also wears, I don't really know how to quite say this, but she wears chin covering sandals. This is the best way I can sit there and come up with it. That's to complete her overall design. I'm thinking that she has some type of rose in her hair, but I don't think that's going to really go through. For her weapons now. Her weapons are shin guards. Think Devil May Cry 3. I've always loved that weapon. Name, I'm probably going to butcher this, Goddess Relampago. Translation from Spanish to English is just lightning talons / claws. I thought it was pretty cool. That store the electrical pulses she produces when revved up and can be blasted or used as an exhaust fume of some sort when motion or kicking is applied. And, you know, speaking of revved up, this, by the way, is a term she or another character that I have named Serena came up with to classify the levels of her semblance. It is in her top most satisfying things, coming in on third after cats. Holy crap, she loves cats. She adores dancing for the electricity she feels, as well as fights for the thrills and also the stimulation it emits. But that's probably her top one. So that's the list there. Now, her birthplace is that of where the RWBY school Beacon Academy resides. However, her parents knew her skill was beyond average, believing that she could compete with the best if trained well. As a result, they agreed for her to study abroad and have her apply to Atlas, where she passed the exam with flying colors, as they would say. From there, she meets her first friend, Zarina. Later, she would be introduced to her team as they fulfill one of those random joining events, similar to Ozpins, but since we're talking about Atlas, we can see something a little bit more sophisticated than that. And the other two members that she meets are Vivian Knight and Silver Leonhardt. Well, now that we understand who she is, for the most part, I suppose, and how I might have to tweak some things in explanation-wise, let's begin to see how she is relevant in this story of RWBY, shall we? So, Esperanza is first seen fighting Grimm in the Kingdom of RWBY. Why, you ask? Well, not only because she loves the feeling of fighting, but she also sensed the presence of an animal in need, more specifically a cat. It's not for sure, and I can't even explain it, but she gets these strong feelings about these things. She has no problem taking out the Grimm because for her it's also a great workout on her legs, but she knows the limits and where she may branch out to avoid the hot areas, those heavily populated with Grimm. Blake, in fact, is the one who spots Esperanza, handling rather well against the forces she avoids, not because Blake herself couldn't handle it, but the conflict would result in some type of negative emotion, and that would just attract more of them. However, she does not know that she was there looking for a feline, which in actuality was Blake the whole time. Esper gets the feeling again aimed in Blake's direction when she's close enough. She finishes the rest quickly and then proceeds to follow Blake. They are both running for some time before Esper sees her and eventually makes Blake cease in running or something like that. Blake is hidden but is quickly sensed by Esper as she lunges towards her location, shouting out the phrase "kitty" to Blake. Once she pounces on her or whatever like that, she realizes this was a person and apologizes before realizing that she was a faunus. Now, Blake, feeling uncomfortable for her belief that she is now being seen as a what rather than a who. Esperanza restructures her sentence to ask, "Who are you?" almost to ensure Blake that she is not trying to be offensive in any way. They become not acquainted, but they do end up talking in some form, but are interrupted with Grimm intercepting them. Blake tries to warn/protect Esper from the Grimm lunging at her back by trying to rush past her to kill it, but was pushed back by her with a deviant smile on her face. In an instant, Esperanza kicks a hole in the Grimm's chest as it evaporates. Now, this is the dialogue, and as you can see, or as you will notice, it is much longer than my last one. But, you know, there's a lot I wanted to sit there and say and sit there and display out there for her so you know what she can kind of do and, you know, all that fun stuff. So, take your time, by all means, pause it and critique, and we're back. So yeah, that's basically it. This is how I'm gonna plan to have Esperanza, you know, become tied in with the story. I believed since season 1 going into season 2, I've wanted an anti-Yang, so to speak, type of character. To elaborate, I wanted a kicker, and since my uncontrollable love for Juri Han in the Street Fighter series is relatively high still to this day, she, Esperanza, remains just that. Don't bring Mercury up. I don't want to hear that. I wanted to throw out a lot of hints resembling her semblance, but I could only really get electricity become a thing when her ability is not just specifically electricity, but a more deeper and very confusing concept of nerve manipulation. I believe it will work, but in the future, but it was an ability I believe I could make work with the information I've come through across the internet as an understanding. In addition, I displayed a setback or negative impact regarding the use of her semblance, and I'm debating if she'll have just one or, you know, 2 setbacks, which will surely prevent her, or same rules apply for any of my other characters, from preventing them from being too overpowered or unstoppable at that. But just to recap on the position regarding Esperanza and or what you just read. She senses a cat in the kingdom rather close to where she is and hunts it down. Blake is doing Blake stuff and catches eye of Esper in belief she may be having trouble, so she, Blake, sneaks up and close in and prepares to assist her if need be. She is then chased because Esper sensed her presence as a cat. Blake is a cat faunus. They finally are stopped and exchange words, which sooner reveals that Esperanza is also a faunus. They fight and kill Grimm before having to retreat. Blake tells her some things about herself, and Esperanza responds. They make it a habit to meet in the kingdom to talk, eat, and kill Grimm. Now, of course, this doesn't last as long as you'd like, because I believe Blake will have disappeared, because I just believe that's what she does. Well, we have 2 down, and fortunately we have 2 more to go. And on that note, our next contestant will be Zarina Williams. Thank you all so much for watching, and see y'all next time. And remember, keep it stylish.